Today I'm going to be using Photoshop to teach you how to turn this into this, into this. Let's get started. Today we're going to be showing you how to edit a screenshot taken from your favorite video game to use for a cover page for YouTube using Photoshop. Once you've got the most up-to-date version of Adobe Photoshop open, you're going to come to the left side corner down here to the spot healing brush tool. This is one of the easiest and most fun tools to use. It can completely change any image with little work. So we're going to start in small spaces. We're not going to try to take on too much at one time. So here where it says Awakening, which is a quest for Dying Light 2, Talk to Rahim, we're just going to lightly highlight that area and then release. And you see here how it just automatically goes away. So again, here on the top left-hand corner, we're going to come down in size. On the Mac keyboard, I use the brackets to increase and decrease size. I went down just one step and I'm just barely highlighting the area that I want to go away. What it is doing, it is sampling the areas from around it and creating a new part of that image. Now for this one, we're going to use the right bracket and we're going to increase the size a little bit. We're not going to make it the whole size of the actual image. That's just personal preference. You can try different things and see what works for you. But so we're just going to very gently and easily highlight that area of that square circle. And you see here it's duplicated the same bird 3 times. So we've got a really repetitive movement in the image. So I'm just going to come in and just dap those little birds and either move them around or just kind of break up that symmetry that the resampling had actually created. So I'll come back up here to the top left corner and I hit the move tool, V for shortcut, just to reset everything. It just helps keep everything clean and clear. Now normally I would start with an additional layer as a duplicate as not to mess up the original. I've been doing this for a little bit, so I actually didn't do that. Now I am considering removing this fence post right here. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because you see how it covers more area. So once I did this part, you see here how I've got the breaking up of the image. So that was too large of a portion. We do have an island right here. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to come back to the left-hand side corner. And I'm going to hold over the spot healing and it should bring up this tool menu. I'm going to select healing brush. Using my brackets again, I'm going to increase my brush size. I'm going to hold down Alt or Option on my Mac keyboard. Select the water area by clicking left on my mouse just above that area. And then I'm going to come down, highlight over, increase it just one more step. You don't want to go too large. And I'm just going to lightly move around. Before we move any further, I do want to note at the top in the drop down menu where it says normal, you can also change that to replace for a much thicker replacement value. You'll actually see much later in the video where I remember to switch from the normal to replace, and I'm much happier with my modifications from that point. And slowly bring that water into this image. Now this could be bad as well, so you need to really take your time and be careful. I'll really figure this works. So you see how nicely this is coming together. So right here, right about here where I hit the corner of where the post is going to be, I'm going to stop and I am going to resample. So we're not ignoring this part right on the right corner, but we are going to ignore it for now. Now you see we have these reflections here, so we need to keep the reflections in the water in mind. I am going to come here towards the middle. It has darkened a little bit, so we're going to bring that down. Come straight down, left kick, and I'm going to drag over. Again, keep in mind you're going slow. If you don't like the way it's turning out, you're going to stop and resample. So here, I'm going to go ahead and move on over one more. I like that. So I'm going to unclick. I'm going to release my hold on my left mouse click. So here around the post, we're getting a pretty good fluid feel. I think we can clean this up a little bit more. So I'm actually going to click on the bottom. So now here where I'm clicking, if you see here, my circle is overlapping with the edge of the image. That will actually make a big difference when I use that section. See how it has created that line? I'm going to show you. It has created that straight edge line there. We don't want that straight edge line, so we're going to zoom back out. I did use Command or Control plus and minus to zoom in and out. So we're going to come back up here just to the right of the post, and we're just going to make the circle a little bit bigger. And no, we're going to go back smaller because I'm actually going to do this in 2 phases. And we're just going to slowly but surely just work our way down. Now you see here the size of the circle, I'm actually getting a lot of that post is still in the image. We're going to kind of just go back over the spots that have yellow in it. This one's going to take a few transitions for my personal liking. And then you can either make the circle bigger or larger using your brackets and just kind of dab out those spots. Now I am using a hard brush right now. Normally I've already selected a soft brush, and we're just going to bring it down in a circular motion and just kind of work. We didn't go out far enough. We're going to go back in and reset that and do it all over again. Make it a little larger, and we're just going to kind of work this area. That's not really working out for me, so we're going to just skip that. We're going to come and work. We're just going to work on a different section. If it doesn't work out for you, we move on. That looks beautiful, so we're going to just break that right up. That's working out perfectly. So we're going to make it to about there. Release. Decrease the brush size because we're actually coming up on the trees. Come in 2 clicks. Release the brush size and go down another click. Come in 1 or 2 clicks. Release. Go down in size. And we're just going to steadily repeat that. Now we are getting this repetitive pattern here in the middle. That's really not so much of a problem. We're just going to continue to sample and bring the same area from just above it to give it a cleaner look. A look that makes more sense. Alright, so we've gotten that much taken care of already. We can actually probably make all of these trees go away if we want to, and we might end up doing that after all. That might be a little easier for today's lesson. Let's try that out. Let's see here. How do we like that so far? So far we've cleaned up that area a lot more. I think that's really going to simplify this picture. We really want the focus to be on the bridge leading into the city and have the mountains just as a backdrop. So eliminating that, we can actually come over here and go ahead and just get rid of that. Again, don't forget to resample as you move around the areas. Make this one a little bigger. And it will automatically blend for you. Photoshop is just one of the most valuable tools. I started Photoshop when I did my business for photography. So we just came in and sampled this area right here. Be careful because we do have that reflection. We do not want to grab that reflection here and bring it down into this water. We can, however, grab this area and bring it over. But you see how the gradient of the water, it starts out really light because this is where the sun is. I'm assuming that the sun is setting over in this direction, so we have the light falling off as we move into the image. So pay attention to those gradients of light as you work with your image. I'm not really seeing a spot I like, so I'm going to grab right here in the middle, and then I'm going to just bring that down. I'm going to dab right now because I need a larger area to work with. And you see, the more I work with, it is bringing more errors into it that I don't want to deal with. So by releasing, I can bring those colors down. All right, so we've kind of cleaned up that area for the most part. You can still see that the trees are there. We can still come back and clean this up a lot more, but getting rid of them on the initial pass is very important. Now that we've done that, you see how we've got this increasing in size. We're going to want to kind of follow that pattern as well. So I've made my circle much larger again. And I'm just going to bring down in that same angle, coming back to the top, releasing and repressing on the left mouse key. And we're just going to drag following these same lines in the reflections. So what do we think so far? I feel like so far we're in a really good position to move forward. I feel like that we have a big line here. So we're going to come over here. We're going to sample right here and just kind of break this line up. We want to be wary. Watch out for your reflections. Don't make your reflections go away. Just kind of maybe break this up just so you just kind of dot around. Dab around until you find that fluid, that smooth look, that it doesn't look like the water is moving in any one direction. Because from this angle, there's no movement in the water. So moving on. So now this we're getting into the more difficult area. I can bring this crop in here. Now I don't want to lose my bridge, so I'm not going to bring it in too much there. So what we're doing right now is really cropping out a lot of stuff that we won't have to work on unnecessarily. So by cropping that in, what we've done is we've brought the focus in on the leading line, which is the bridge going into the city. We've still kept a little bit of the sunset, and we have the beautiful mountains in the background. Now we could probably bring this in just a little more. We are going to lose a little bit more of the city, but that's okay. Oh, it should never have it, the delete cropped pixels selected. It is a destructive change, and we don't want those pixels to go away. So I'll uncheck the box, and I'm going to go back and redo everything that I've done with the cropping. I'm going to re-crop again. Just bringing it straight down from the middle, cropping out as much of the excess as I can. We have our leading line in the majority of the city. We have the mountain as the background. I feel like this could be a pretty decent composition right here. So we're going to go ahead and click check. You notice the delete crop pixels is not checked, so it is no longer a destructive move. This is important because when I get to this image and I decide that I don't like it, but I do, I like this one, I can hit C for crop, click on the image, and you see how the borders of the image are actually still there. So nothing has happened except for the fact that I can see the smaller cropped version of this image. This is called a non-destructive change. And this is very important when it comes to working on quality of certain images. So now that we've gotten rid of a lot of the island, the trees, we've cleaned up the water, we've recomposed the composition of the entire image, the only thing left we have to do is deal with this gaudy orange bar, which is part of the platform that I was standing on to capture this screenshot. So this is going to take a little bit of fine detailed work. So I will probably do a time lapse of this portion as I continue to work on it. It's just going to be one of those things where you kind of have to take your time, sample some spots, move on, undo some things, and just really work with your image. So I'm going to start right over here in this because I feel like this is going to be pretty easy to tackle. So it's not perfect, but you see how we've taken the one photo and we've made everything gone away. We've completed the bridge, we've reset the composition, and we've really given this image an entirely new look just by making a few changes. Now, I do understand that that one change, removing the yellow pole, was a big change. It was a time-consuming change, but you see for the overall effect that it is going to drastically change the picture. Now, you're not going to want to do drastic changes on each image like that, so you do need to keep in mind that that drastic of a change is not necessary for every single image, but it is possible to remove some things. Now, I'm sure there is a much simpler way. There are many methods of doing many different things in Photoshop. Photoshop, again, I just cannot stress, is such a valuable resource, and only for $10 a month you can have access to this program and really up your video, your photography, your screenshot editing. You can just take it to a whole new level. I really hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll have more Photoshop tutorials coming soon. Most of them will be centered around designing graphics, overlays for Twitch, OBS Studio, Streamlabs, OBS, and anything else related to the gaming industry. Until next time.